of Education to order. Chris, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Detzel.
Here.
Mr. Harlow.
Here.
Mr. Heather.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Mr. Detzel.
Here.
You all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone has received a copy of the meeting minutes from July 17th. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. Are there any additions or corrections? Chris, could you call the roll, please? Or call for the vote? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, Michael, we'll move into our legislative update report.
I don't have anything to report. The legislature is still on break, and it's the month of August, and even the State Board of Education is off as well.
Okay. Jim, do you have a Butler Tech update?
Just one thing, just to remind the board members, and that the all boards meeting at Butler Tech is October 11th.
Okay.
And just make sure that you guys RSVP.
Okay. Okay, at this time we'll move into reports from employee organizations. Do we have any certificated or licensed employees? Classified? Any reports from school-related organizations? At this time, we'll move into community comments. I do have 4 requests, so we'll limit to 3 to 4 minutes per request. The first one, Benita Sargent. If you'd like to come up, going to talk about school supplies.
I'm not a parent. I am a grandparent of 3 children, 2 in Struble and 1 in Elmweigel. My son-in-law makes $18 an hour. He gets no help from the government, no food stamps, no anything. They pay a mortgage, your utility bills, a car payment, no cable, Wi-Fi, groceries, health insurance, and then we get the school supply list every year. This year, for 3 children, it came to $126.62. I would like to ask the board, how do you expect someone who makes that kind of money to pay for the supplies when they do get school fees waived because of his income, and they do get breakfast and lunches waived because of his income? What irritates me as the grandparent, I don't want to deny my grandchildren that to have school supplies, but when I've questioned my grandchildren in April when they've come home and said, we don't have any pencils. What do you mean you don't have any pencils? You took 44 pencils each to school back in August. Teacher said we ran out, you have to buy more. We don't have any crayons. Teacher said we ran out, you have to buy more. So I wanted you to see the list. If you want to see the list, this is one list from Walmart's. This is the list from Staples, and another list from Staples. It's getting to the point where an average person who's trying to send their children to public school can't afford it. And what I'm finding out is they dump everything into boxes. So if his grandson and his grandson come and they can't afford the school supplies, that the school supplies I dumped into the boxes, they get to share that. Who decides that factor? Who decides who doesn't have to bring school supplies? Who decides the rest of the classroom makes the school supplies for those children? And I know your school board members are not actually teachers, I get that, but you are the people who watch over the schools. And then the thing that really irritated me the most was 3 or 4 rolls of paper towels, 4 or 5 things of freezer bags, 3 or 4 things of sandwich bags, Huggy unscented wipes, Clorox antibacterial wipes. It had to be Ziploc. It had to be Crayola crayons. I can't go and buy Walgreens crayons or Walmart crayons. It has to be the specific thing on the school supplies. So my question is, other school districts do something for children in this predicament, and if I wasn't alive, I don't know how they pay for their school supplies. I just feel as a school board and as a school, one of the largest school districts, we have to either look to see how Boone County and Kenton County and Oak Hills, how do they do that for their children that parents can't afford it. And they don't do anything that's above, I mean, they don't go out and eat, they don't go out to movies, they can't do it, they can't afford it. So luckily, they have me for a grandparent and my husband who can afford it. But at some point, the school board's going to have to start looking at these lists and have to start either helping get community members in the business district to start supplying some of this stuff, so the parents of persons like my children have parents, they can't afford it. And I just think as a school board, you need to make some kind of decision, and maybe for next year to look into some other districts and say, well, how do you do it? Because it was just on TV last night, 900 children in Campbell County or Kenton County got backpacks based on the room in the school they were going to with all their supplies in the backpack, free.
Yeah, so your point is very valid. We do understand that. We just had our Hands Fair, and at our Hands Fair, there was multiple supplies given out to students free if they attended the Hands Fair. Some of it not exactly what was on the list of the school. There is nothing that a teacher can mandate that has to be brought in by school supplies. Anything that's mandated like that has to be board approved. This is a wish list for their class that they would like folks to bring in if they can. When they do bring them in, nobody labels them and says, this is John's, this is Julie's, this is Michelle's. That way, we don't have to keep track of who brings them in and who doesn't, because we know some families and teachers know they cannot afford to bring them in. Mrs. Blust, is there anything you want to add about supplies? Because there's no policy that says you are required to bring them in.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I called the school board. I called Ian Weigel, spoke to the secretary, Ian Weigel. I called and spoke to Secretary Struble, and I said exactly what I just said to the school board. I said, is there anything I can do to get my grandchildren through? Sorry, we don't have anything like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I can't, whatever you just said. I have no idea what you just said or where that is. And then, why doesn't the person who answers the phone to the school board, and I specifically said, I'm trying to find some help to get my grandchildren school supplies. Is there anything Northwest? No, we don't have anything like free school supplies. No. Then I called the secretary in Weigel. Then I called the secretary of Struble.
Well, again, the secretaries are not going to arrange free supplies for anyone. We do have business partners that assist with our supplies in each of our buildings. There is no requirement for any kid to bring exactly what's on a list. It is a list that they try to get for supplies, whether we want to believe it or not, and it is very similar in all other districts. At Lakota, at Mount Healthy, at Finneytown, at Mason, there is a supply list, but it's not a mandatory list because there are different issues at home. There are students right now who go through and receive free and reduced lunch who can't afford these. It's bring in what you can because one, it is things that they put into the plastic bags and bring home so they can share with their parents sometimes. Does it have to be a specific brand? No, and we can talk to our teachers about what can people afford, and let's be realistic here. It's not meant to be as a punishment. It's not meant to be an embarrassment. And we do try very hard to get many free supplies. Pauletta Crowley has worked very hard for our Hands Fair that was at Northgate Mall. And what was supplied there was free physicals, free eye exams, free teeth checkup, free haircuts, and we put it out through the internet. If you don't have email, or if you do, we can get you on that. We can get you on our One Call Now list. It should be going to the parents though, if they're the guardian, but we can add a grandparent also, so that's not a problem either. We promoted this pretty well. There was a write-up in the paper about it, so we're trying every way we can to get that information out. It's not on purpose that you didn't get it.
And the only suggestion I would make is arrange with the friend of the school board for the summer should say, in case you haven't been able to get through the internet or paper, we have a hands-free or whatever you call it at Northgate Mall on this date. Because if he or she would have said that to me when I called, I wouldn't be here tonight.
Were their parents not aware of it either? Did they get the stuff that comes home?
I kept saying to my daughter, there has to be some kind of, so she kept tag teaming with everybody, and I thought, well, maybe she's not calling the right person. So I personally called the school board, and I don't do it with the phone, I don't want to get them in trouble. I just said, is there any kind of help for school supplies for AMY and students? No, we don't have anything like that. I was like, okay.
Well, all of our administrators, if you would call and talk to them, would tell you it's not a requirement that you bring them in. We do understand that families are going through difficult times, working, trying to supply for their families. This is just a list that if they can bring it into school. It's not mandatory. So maybe we need to talk to our administrators about making sure the teachers explain that so people don't feel like they're left out or feel like they're put in a bad place. Because the last thing we want is Johnny sitting in a class and, well, my family couldn't afford to bring that and feeling bad. That's not the purpose of that. It's just to get supplies to get through the year.
Well, then my daughter said when she goes to meet the teacher, they have to bring the school list, supply list in, and she checks it off and she puts it in whatever they put them in. And I said, but what if you don't have everything?
We'll take care of that.
And your point's very well taken. I'll take a look at the school supply lists to make sure that they're not cost prohibitive and they're not too specific that, you know, people can't search for deals and things like that. But thank you very much for your time.
And I just kind of want to piggyback. I think that's a great suggestion that our secretaries, they're so busy, and I'm not making excuses, but that is a point very well taken, that they should, when they, especially like you said in the summer, be able to say, and just wanted to remind you of the Hands Fair, and you say, I don't know what you're talking about, and they have the knowledge to be able to explain it to you. Because it's a program that has been building over the years. And like you said, I mean, we have a dentist there that does free dental work and the haircuts, and it's very nice. It's gotten so big, we're at Northgate now. So we appreciate you coming, because I think that'll make a difference. Thank you.
Is it possible to, you know, right now you go there in the stores and, you know, you go to Staples and other places, and the stores are stocked with back-to-school supplies. But like everything else, there comes a time when school's over, or that season is over, and there's, you know, excess inventory. Is that maybe a time to strike a deal with some of the...
Believe it or not, Pauletta does that around Thanksgiving and Christmas time also. They go to Walmart, and where their spiral-bound folders are 10 cents a piece, they collect all those that weren't sold, and Pauletta is constantly giving stuff out. So again, if we talk to the administrator can supply you with who to talk to, and we can assist in any way that we possibly can.
And the good thing, one of the benefits if it all goes into the tub, if somebody brings something other than Crayola and it's all in the tub, nobody's going to know this person brought Crayola and this person, it colors. And the other ones are less expensive. I do want to let you know, though, too, I know the teams worked very hard. We actually lowered, I believe, every grade but one's student fees for this year. Just really trying, they look at it very closely every year to see, you know, maybe we don't need to purchase this year. And we were very excited to see that we were able to tell every grade but the one. And I think it only went up, what, a quarter or 20 cents, but every other grade actually reduced this year. But we appreciate you coming. Okay, Rich McVeigh, got a couple minutes here to introduce Raj, and I sure don't want to mess up his last name, so I will let you introduce, and I will pass this along.
Good evening, board and members of the administration. I have the distinct pleasure this evening to introduce Pakari Rajagopal. And Raj, as he is affectionately called, is running to serve as a Coleraine Township trustee. Given the facts of the past few months, I thought it important for Raj to appear before this board this evening, and I thank you for giving us that opportunity. Raj and his wife, Raina, have 4 wonderful children, successful children. They're all in school. One wants to be a doctor, one's a lawyer, one's a business person, and their son is an audio engineer. They've done a good job of raising their kids. They're successful. They both are business owners here in Coleraine Township. They run the Total Quality Child Care Center on Civic Center Drive, you may not know. They have firsthand experience in getting children off to a great educational start. They are educators. Raj has distinguishedly served as a deputy sheriff, a probation officer, a probation supervisor, a chief of communications for the Hamilton County Justice Center. He has a 37-year career there. He currently is the director of programming for the Justice Center, and just I pause on that briefly. We all know about the heroin problems that we're reading about and are experiencing firsthand, and Sheriff Neal has asked Raj to take a look at that in the Justice Center, and he's doing that. And one of the things about Raj is he has a great ability to reach out. He's already met with the county commissioners. He's talked with people in Columbus, and right out of the box, he was able to get, I think, Raj, you correct me if I'm wrong, about $4.5 million to do that work. He is well known, Raj is. He has a passion to serve. He's a man filled with faith. He's a proven leader. He's a business owner. He's well respected and known throughout not only Hamilton County, but the state of Ohio. Raj has an inclusive style that encourages others to contribute, and that might be a change to you. If you know a judge in Hamilton County, you should ask them about what they think about Raj. They all know Raj and what he does for people here in the county and in the state. You may recall in my correspondence that I send you, beneath my signature there's this biblical quote from Galatians 5:22, which says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. Against such things there is no law. This biblical verse describes to me the behavior of those who call themselves Christians, and their behavior exemplifies that. Board and administration, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Raj and his wife Rhina, heard back here.
Thank you very much, Reg. It's a great honor and privilege to get an introduction, people like you who really value this community, concern about this community, and care about this community. And I'm really thankful to you for a nice introduction. Now, Rich told everything about me. I can go back and sit. Yeah, but it is very true about telling me about how I value the education. Our family, the whole life we spend just teaching our kids the importance of education. It came from my father. I born in a small village in India. It's called Palal, very small. We didn't have no electricity till I was in high school. My father never went to school, and he doesn't educate at all. But he worked hard. He worked hard as a blacksmith in the railway company, Southern Railway, India. But one thing he said to us, I didn't have the privilege to go to school, but I'm going to give you guys the best thing, the education. I'm going to give you guys the best education you can have. Truly, his dream happened. I'm the first guy, all these years, he worked hard. It's unbelievable. I'm the second guy in my village, got a bachelor's degree, graduated from degree. I'm the first guy in my whole district come to a foreign country for higher education, master's degree. Same thing, my brother, he was the first guy in the whole district, went to IIT Engineering College, which is equal to MIT in the United States. And he went ahead, got a full scholarship with the University of Cincinnati, did a master's degree in mechanical engineering. Now he's a vice president for the Boeing company. Because these things he instilled in my heart, how my father worked hard and gave the important, the crave for the education. And sure enough, we did the same thing. And my wife, and after raising the children, the one, like Rich said, one's an attorney, prosecutor in St. Louis, one will be going to medical school, one is an engineer, the oldest daughter is a business major, executive. And she went ahead and got her master's degree in education. And we are passionate for education. That leads to me why I'm running for the candidate for the courtroom trustee. I want to build a bridge between the school district and the township administration. I want to tell these people, bring back the close relationship between the trustee and the school board, how we can improve the education system, how we can help to have every child in this community have the quality and affordable, better educations, everything they need, not one child left behind. So that's what one of the primary goals, to build the relationship. That's why I'm standing here asking your support to help me. So when I become a trustee of this Colerain Township, my goal is build a relationship, the bridge between these two organizations. So that's the only way to bring the better education system in our community. And thank you so much for this time to express myself. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have Jim Acton talking about the TIF and the bridge.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Glad everybody can make it. I have a special message for Superintendent Todd. This comes from my son. And when we were sitting at lunch, he says, tell Todd to remember the whole pie, not part of the pie. Okay? I don't know what that means to you, but that's what he said. I got 2 calls this afternoon from people that live over in the bridge area, as I'll call it, wanting to know what was going on. So I pulled back through my notes and read a few things and looked at some things, and one of them was the survey that Colerain Police had done of 49 homes back in the Laura Linda district. And I asked both residents that called me, are you keeping any records of what's going on over there? And the one gentleman said, yes, we are, but we're not prepared to present our program to Chief Denny yet, or to the trustees of Colerain Township. Todd, back on January 24th, I believe there was supposed to be a meeting between you and Dan Malloy about the bridge. Was there any results come out of that? Because I've never heard anything.
Yeah, we've discussed this at 2 separate board meetings. So if you go back and you watch the board meetings, you can see exactly what was said when the audience approached.
Okay.
Folks just continue not to let this go, but we went through our attorneys. The bridge was given to us when Houston Elementary was originally built. And Chris, feel free to chime in. It was built for kids who walk to school. And at the end of that, when kids no longer attended there, which they no longer don't, it is a early childhood center now, that the bridge could be given to the people who surround it and live by it. They were offered to buy it. All of them refused to buy it. We next went to the township and asked them if they wanted it, and Colerain Township did not want it. So there is nothing unsafe about it. It is stable. It is in good condition. And so we're not going to spend money on something that is not an issue in our mind.
Okay, so the school board still owns the bridge. Okay. I will respond to this gentleman and the other guy. Okay.
And the 4 people we tried to just give it to them, it wasn't they had to buy it. So when the 4 didn't want it, then 2 had the opportunity to do it, and we said the bridge is yours. We don't want it. So we tried to give it to them.
I don't know nothing about that.
And then they can do with it, if they own it, they can do whatever they want, is my point of letting you know.
Okay, well, it was just a question, and
Sure.
as active as some
But-
people know, I'm
Yeah,
very
make sure
active
we
in
did
Colerain
discuss it, and they know
Township,
that they
and I
can
wanna
watch the
keep
videos on
everybody
Waycross.
informed.
Yeah, because it was discussed.
Because I was asked to run against Raj at one time, and I said, no, he's more educated than I. The other thing is about the TIF. I did not spend, or I should say I didn't attend the meeting that the board was there. Todd, you particularly, because you were the spokesman for the board. But I'd like to apologize as a Colerain resident of more than 45 years for the embarrassment that you had to go through and the lack of, as one of my friends say, the stupidity of the two members on the board, the way they approached you and spoke to you about the TIF. Today, I'm still a firm believer it's a bad deal, and hopefully somewhere down the road, if we can find out a few things, it will be violation of Ohio Revised Code, but we can't prove that yet. Our understanding it has to be a unanimous vote, and there was only 2 people that voted for it. I might be wrong. Maybe somebody here on the board knows more about it than I do, but that's something that we're looking into right now. And if it's true, we'll be back to tell you, go after them again. Thank you. Have a good evening, all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
At this time, we'll move into certificated license and personnel. Todd?
All righty. First item is certificated license personnel item. It is certificated license personnel retirements and resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated license personnel retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions regarding the certificated and licensed personnel? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is classified personnel item. It is classified retirements and resignations. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments regarding classified retirements and resignations? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is a fiscal item. It is advance and reversal of fiscal year 17 advances from the general fund. The treasurer and superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the advances from general fund as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any question on the advance and reversal? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is then and now certificates over $3,000. Superintendent and treasurer recommend the Board of Education authorize the payments over $3,000 requiring a then and now certificate as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the then and now certificates over 3,000. Questions? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is official certificates of estimated resources for fiscal year 18. Superintendent treasurer recommends the Board of Education accept the final amended certificate of estimated resources as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is a resolution approving revisions to OASBO Section 457 plan. Superintendent and treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the resolution approving revisions to the OASBO Section 457 plan as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions revolving this resolution? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is a general business item. It is a resolution acknowledging the Commission's design phase review comments for the Colerain High School renovation. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the resolution as listed. This is looking at putting air conditioning into Colerain High School for August 2018. We want to make sure that whatever we do with permanent improvements meets OSFCC guidelines, so we get money for that.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and
Yeah.
seconded. Any questions? I'm sure everybody at Colerain will be thrilled to see this. Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is a donation to Northwest Local School District. The Montford Heights PTA would like to donate $6,270 to the Montford Heights Elementary School for the installation of a projector in the school's cafeteria. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the donation to Northwest Local School District as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any questions or comments?
We'll
I'd just
thank
like
them.
to, oh, go ahead.
Well, we certainly thank the Montford Heights PTA for this very generous donation.
And I was going to say, over the years, Montford Heights PTA has been very, very generous to Montford Heights Elementary, as well as all our PTAs in ways of working. You know, not all the PTAs are in the position to be able to donate this much money, but all our schools have PTAs that work very, very hard in all kinds of ways. So we want to thank all of them. Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is vendor contracts. Superintendent Treasurer recommend the Board of Education approve the vendor contracts as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Questions regarding vendor contracts? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is certificated license personnel items. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the certificated license personnel items as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. And questions? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is classified personnel items. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed. I want to bring to your attention, and as you say every meeting, this stuff is given to you guys in advance, so they do read it over. This will be a public notice of a rehire session and a 60-day notice. We have had a very difficult time filling our last 3 special education teachers. We have 2 that we will do with an alternative license. They're very good teachers, but they need to go back to get certification and do an alternative license in order to get paid. And then 1 is a rehire. So it is in the best interest of our kids. We have exhausted interviewing folks and making sure we get the right people in there. And this is a very common problem in other school districts, as I am getting emails daily from superintendents asking if we know of anyone. So I just wanted to make sure that we keep that in front of you and you're aware of what's going on.
So moved. Second. Second.
Moved in second. Are there any additional questions regarding classified personnel items? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is curriculum and instruction, K-8 grading and reporting handbook. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the 2017-18 K-8 grading and reporting handbook as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Regarding the reporting handbooks, are there any questions? Yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is the 2017-2018 Program of Studies revision. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the revisions as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any questions? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item is ASL textbook adoption, that is American Sign Language. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the ASL textbook adoption as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any questions regarding the textbook adoption? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item is the 2017-2018 district handbooks for elementary. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the district handbooks as listed. This is the second time. First time was for info, this time for action.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Are any questions regarding these 2 handbooks? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
And the next item is the Neola Board Policy Revision. Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the revised board policy as listed.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the policy revision? Chris? Motion passes 5-0.
All right, I have 3 updates for you. First of all, students come back Thursday, so everyone knows freshmen are the only ones who will attend school at the 2 high schools. We have a freshman orientation. It is a big difference to come from our smaller middle schools and go into our large high schools. They will spend the day talking to them about what is required in 4 years, what credits are required, social skills, emotional skills, who your resources are, who your counselors are, and then try to sign them up for as many activities as possible, because the more we can get them engaged in, the better we can keep an eye on them. If we have our choice, we'd love for them to get there at 7 in the morning and stay to 7 at night. So we know for those 12 hours are the best 12 hours of their day, and we know they're safe and sound. So it's a big day for us. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors will start on Friday at the high schools. Everybody else, K through 8, starts Thursday, so we are excited. I really want to thank enrollment. I think things have stayed out of your way yet. We've added extra people to get them in there. We are constantly calling. A lot of people will enroll and get the initial things done, but then they need additional papers. I thought Pauletta and Matt Pining at the Hands Fair did an outstanding job. They took the Chromebooks with them. Anybody who passed by grabbed them, had them or changed the EMA if it needed to be changed, or fill out whatever forms we needed to do. So it was a tremendous help. Fingers crossed, right now enrollment is up. It's a good thing. And it's up pretty good, so we'll see how things go, because once the buses start rolling, then we start finding out, oh, school started, I better do whatever I need to do. So we are excited. A lot of thanks to the folks sitting up here and out in the audience who have arranged things. PD went great today. I got to hear Brenda speak, our principal speak at a couple meetings, and it was awesome. So we're ready to go. The other thing I'd like to bring to your attention, and then I think I can offer it to folks out there also, is starting at the end of September, we can take hard hat tours in the buildings, all 3. If your wife would like to join, or your husband, or your kids, welcome to. We are offering that to our staff, and so we're actually talking, and we will require real shoes, no flats, because of all the construction going on, but we'll do hard hats. We need to set up the tours, and they're looking at 3 o'clock on any day. So I am more than happy to meet you any day, as is Chris, and we've all talked about it in FAC also, but I know some of you are here a lot at these meetings, and we can accommodate if 1,000 come and want to go, but for the folks who are here on a regular basis, and we know you are, if you would like to attend, we can arrange that. We are excited. They are on budget, they are on time, and they're doing a tremendous job. And I'll go back to that OFCC thing we approved. We are to the point where we have done such a good job building these buildings. We have the $18 to $19 million we need for Colerain L and Colerain Middle when this is done, and not have to go back for a new levy or anything. So I cannot speak highly enough of Megan Skansen and SHP. They've done a great job staying under budget. We're starting to get money back that we saved for contingency funds because they didn't need them because they planned the right way. So we're adding additional things to our buildings as we go. And then I will remind people constantly that when the board passed this, it was to build 3 new schools, air-conditioned Colerain L. We now are building 3 new schools and air conditioning every building in our district. White Oak is cold air. We just need to clean up the outside of it right now. And that only leaves Pleasant Run Middle and Colerain High School, and that will be August of 2018. So I cannot speak highly enough of that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the TIF, and I will not get emotional or talk about the meeting or anything like that. I just want to do what's best for our district and our kids. So I want to let everybody know that we've been contacted by Michael Enderhees about negotiating funds from the TIF at Colerain Township that they just passed. We met one time last week, Amy and I, for 20 minutes. We are waiting on a follow-up meeting to discuss the financial terms and how the money will be received. Amy and I discussed with Michael that we need our attorneys to get together because we just need to know that legally we're allowed to accept funds and that negotiations can take place. We are open to talking about whatever we can. I guess negotiations will go through Michael. I don't know how the government works in Colerain Township, but we're willing to talk to whoever we need to. We are really willing to get back to being a partner. And right now, I don't know what the amount will be. The first suggested thing was anywhere between $1 million and 1.5, but there was some other things tied to that. So we are very open to meeting and discussing. Michael was going to come tonight, but something came up and he could not attend. We'll wait for follow-up this week, or I'm not shy. If it gets the district money, we'll reach out to them and we'll do what we need to do.
Todd, what's the total amount of the tax money proposed for the next 15 years that the township's going to receive? If Rumpke goes ahead and builds what they're going to do?
I believe it's 7.2, Amy.
So the township will receive $7.2 million between now and the next 15 years on this, and they want to give us between 1 and 1.5 million? of this
We're just talking right now, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so.
And some of the things that have been mentioned is there's an agreement right now that we have with the township. So we've worked with them over the past year or so that we are topped out at 350 and they're topped at 350 for the Banning Colerain Avenue road improvement. So I don't know if that comes back to us or if that stays separate from the money that's offered. So that's what we were going to meet with Michael and continue talking about. But yes, 1.5 was the most that we heard at our initial 20-minute
That's the
meeting.
most that they said that they would give of the possible 7.2
Well,
million.
that was the first offer, yes.
So I have a question on the construction tour. This might be the most important question of the night. Can children come on those tours too? Because I know my 4-year-old will love it.
Yes, as long as we can get the correct helmet and
Okay.
everything, yes. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, when do you expect to have something worked out with the township? Before election day? In the next week, in the next month?
I can't answer that because we're not in control of anything. I went and read a statement, tried to ask politely if they could wait till after September 29th. It went ahead and it was passed, so now I'm basically just waiting for what they can offer. We don't have any legal right to demand anything.
And after September 29th, anybody that comes to the township that wants a TIF has to come through the school board, the school district has to agree to that?
Any new TIF has to come to us now. The reason this one was tied to the 29th is because of a law that was passed in 1994 for TIFs. Amy?
Any new TIF that's over 10 years and 75% of the value comes to the board. Since 1995, any extension after September 29th that meets those requirements would come to the board for
So if there's
approval.
a TIF that's 10, say next year some company comes in and wants a TIF for 10 years, does the township have to come to the school district?
No.
So they can go and do another 10-year TIF without consulting us and we get nothing out of it?
Correct.
So we look forward to hearing from them. I will wait till Tuesday or Wednesday. If I hear nothing, then I will try to make contact. Dan Malloy called me today and said that Michael couldn't be here and asked if we were willing to negotiate. And I said, yeah, sure we are. I mean, we're not going to do anything that's going to keep from bettering our kids' education. So as I get more information, I will get that information to you. I'll call you guys up and let you know what's going on. So Thursday we start. We're ready. We're excited.
Okay, just real quick before we go to community comments, Todd did mention, but I know we have several of you that are new to the meeting. Community comments, at this point of the meeting, this is a time where if there's anybody in the audience that has a question about anything that was discussed during the meeting, you don't have to fill out a card, you don't have to come up, you can just, ask the question from there. So are there any questions? Yes.
So, back to the superintendent about the TIF. So, I agree with Mr. Dixon. Out of 7.2 million, I know you're just in negotiations right now. What do you need from the community to make it higher than 1.5? What can we do? Because that's not right. Colerain Township, and we're all Colerain Township, to haul that $6 million when the school's only going to get a measly $1 million. So what do you suggest, and when do you suggest, before Endries or whatever Ritter's out in November, I don't know what's going to happen in the election, what do you want from the community? So I'll get you out on our social media and say, this is, you want your school board district to have more money from the Rumpke thing, then this is what you need to do if you're sincere about being, wanting to have
I'm not sure I can answer that question because any answer I give you could be held against us. The first time we were accused of extortion and threats. So I don't want to say anything where anybody would get that impression because that's never been our intention and never will be our intention. We want a partnership that works with the township. So I'm not sure I can answer that. I think the best way for anybody, if people have problems with the school board of education or something going on in our schools, you come to our meetings. If something's going on with the township, I think that's your voice to go there.
I've been to the township meetings, I was just up there in July, but they didn't talk about the Rumpke or the TIF because I would have definitely asked whoever, Increase or Ritter or whoever, I would have asked them, how are you coming up with an amount if you're part of this township and who's going to be in the township, hopefully, the kids you're educating are going to continue to be residents of the Colerain Township. So how are you deciding the money, where the money goes? I would have asked that question, but that never came up in the July 11th meeting. I was there for the entire meeting for almost 3 hours. But that's something at some point that we as community members that are part of the education, we have grandchildren, children in this community, I want my grandchildren to benefit from anything that Rumpke has that's part of the township. This education part needs it more than 1 million out of 7 million. So at some point, when you need for the community to step up without being told we're being an extortionist or wherever you're being accused of, we as the community who have children and grandchildren in this school district, we want a voice where that money goes. So not to be belligerent or not to be angry, we need to know what we need to do because I don't like social media, I don't do Facebook, but there's other means of social media. And parents that are in this district, that are gonna stay in this district, wanna know how to make the schools better.
Well, I am a very aggressive person, but I don't want to do something that would ever jeopardize what our kids deserve. And so for me to say something prior to the negotiations is, I can't. So I express your interest at their meetings just like you do here at our meetings. That's the way the public's set up to do it. I think that's the best way to get your message across.
Well, when I went up there in July 11th, a few people got up there and expressed, but in my opinion, as a resident, they were very orderly fashion, were not being detrimental to anybody on the board, and they got pretty, the board members, were escorting people out by police, and I was like, what is this? I couldn't even believe it. So, I've only been I've been to these board meetings maybe 4 times. I've never had anybody escorted out or being asked to leave or anything. So when you get to the negotiation part, then if you negotiate and you only get $500,000, by that point, we as a community can't do anything. So our hands are tied because they're saying once you get down to the, as far as doing the,
Well, these are our elected officials who run the school district. So all Amy and I do is negotiate. Any final decision, that's the chance for you guys to talk to your board members and let them know what you think is appropriate because they will have the final say whether we agree to this negotiate or not. They'll go on Amy and I's recommendation, but there's nothing wrong with you voicing your opinion to them through email or a phone call.
but first we need as a community to go to Colerain Township and say, when you get your 7.5 million, not mention you, how are you gonna distribute that money? And when they come back and say, well, we're in negotiations with Northwest School District, well, what kind of a money amount are you looking at? And then when they say, oh, $500,000 or 700,000, at that point as a citizen, I can say, no, that ain't gonna fly, with us. That's what I need to know. So before, what I need for some direction as to when I can go up to the meeting and say that at any time.
We are currently in negotiations. Like I said, I hope to meet again sometime this week and have a discussion. I don't know who will be at that meeting. The last time Michael and I discussed, we talked about having our attorneys present to make sure that whatever we negotiated was allowable by law. That's our biggest concern.
Rich?
On that same subject, in the last trustee meeting, I made an open records request for how they were going to spend the $7.5 million that we talked about here. And they projected they're going to spend $2 million to retire the $1.5 million bond. But it leaves another $5.5 million. So I asked for the paperwork and the documentation that said, how are you going to spend that money? And there is no documentation.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Wright, and I just have a when the discussion was held about the TIF. My question is that, is it normal practice for the Colerain Township trustees to represent themselves?
I don't know what normal practice is. I know you'll get a different opinion from each trustee because I've talked to them. Amy and I are just in the process of negotiating. We assumed when we negotiated it would have been with Dan Malloy and Jeff Milch, but I will not say no to negotiating with anyone.
Great. I would just like to put on record as saying that I hope that the people that we pay to represent our township, Dan Malloy, administrator, and Jeff Mills, the assistant township administrator, start communications with you, the board. I do not believe that it is a position that an elected trustee needs to represent my. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is for you and Amy. Who will be meeting with you at this next meeting? Because Mike on his own cannot speak for us residents.
And Mr. Acton, I don't know what to tell you because I don't know procedurally or policy-wise what they're doing, but my understanding, and Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, is we will be meeting with Michael again. And our request was to have both attorneys present so we can again make sure what we're doing is legal and we can accept if we are able to go into contract with them.
Because our current attorney does not live in Colerain Township.
But I mean, our attorney doesn't live in Colerain Township either, but he'll come to the table for us because we hire him to discuss our policy and procedures.
The gentleman that is there currently, Mr. Barbier, most residents do not trust him. And I do not trust him if I was sitting in your shoes at that school board meeting. So just my thoughts, my opinion.
Anyone else? We do have other board items. The first one is the superintendent's contract addendums. Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's contract addendums as listed?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any questions? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. Our next action is the CFO treasurer's contract addendums. Do I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. At this time, we'll move into board members' comments. Chris?
Pam, I just wanted to say, just as an aside here, I've got the WNSD radio show from 1974, about 90% edited. I'm taking a 90-minute radio show down to 3 minutes, and that's kind of hard to do. I sound like a 12-year-old, but it's incredible. But when you hear the news and talking about President Nixon and stuff, and then the songs, so I'm going to hopefully have that in the next meeting or
Well,
two.
make sure if that's the year that our class was singing that song, you don't edit it now.
Well, that wasn't on the show, Pam.
Okay.
But, this is something that, we talk
okay,
about
by the
district things and the Struble Carnival, and it's been fun to do. And I'm glad that I found that in my dad's stuff. That's all.
Thanks, Chris. Michael?
I wish everyone a very safe and successful back to school.
Okay. Bob?
I'd like to echo that. I know that all the staff, all the teachers, the administrators, all the classified staff are all getting geared up to start the school year, and I wish them all the best. I know that they work hard for us, all the way from our cafeteria people all the way up to our administration at the very top. And we're grateful for everything that every person does out there to educate our students. Also, I'd like to talk about the TIF. Several board members have reached out and really stepped up to the plate for us from Colerain Township. I'm happy that there's at least some degree of negotiations still left open, and hopefully that comes out favorable for the school district and the township. But at this point, at least it's still open. It's not closed, where we thought it was maybe at the last board meeting. So it's good to know that there's still a relationship there, and that there's something that we can build on.
I just want to echo what Bob said, just wishing everybody good luck, and Thursday will be a very successful day.
And it's always hard going last because pretty much, like to echo what everybody said, particularly our staff, the custodial staff getting the buildings all ready to roll, transportation working really hard to make sure the routes and everything are in place. Our teachers don't just stop on the last day of school. They work all year long, so I know they're prepared as well. And all the professional development that's been going on is also what's best for kids. I'd like to take a minute as a 20-year veteran board member and thank those of you that are in the audience. It is nice to hear passion from our community members supporting the education in this community. So I just want to thank you, and we appreciate it. And I, like Bob, hope that, we are able to work something out with Colerain Township. With the vote, our hands are tied, so it's more what they're going to be willing to do to help us out here. So with that, for all you kids, enjoy the last night? Yeah, your last day to sleep, or to sleep in and stay up late, and hope everybody has a successful and very safe school year. So can I have a motion to end the board meeting, please?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, Chris. I was supposed to pause so she can type all that out, and I talked too fast. Okay. Motion and did you get it? Okay. We'll call for the vote. You'd think I'd get that figured out by now. Motion adjourned. Thank you, everyone.